Donald Trump. In this episode on The Dirt with Bert, I'm going to give you the dirt on Donald Trump. How is he so persuasive? What makes him so irresistible? You hate him, you like him, you still got to admit the guy's pulling some big numbers. Why is that? Stay tuned. I'm going to walk you through the tactic that he's using, and you can employ them too to get the same results. I'm going to walk you through the 4 things that Donald Trump is doing to be massively persuasive. Check this out. You can emulate some of these skills to get your message across, to be more persuasive at home, at work, around the people that you want to impact around your life. Okay, so tactic number 1 is be disruptive. Do something that everybody else is not doing. That's the first thing Donald Trump did. Look, most candidates are trained to be reserved and calm and talk kind of in almost a monotone type voice. Donald Trump did the opposite of that. He was loud and boisterous. Man, he interrupted people. He was argumentative to the extreme, right? So he separated himself by being loud and boisterous, which is the opposite. It's disruptive from everybody else, right? So he was loud, he was disruptive. That's called, in NLP, we call that a pattern interrupt. It grabs attention. It separates you from the pack. Tactic number 1 is he did a pattern interrupt on everybody all the time.
That's a matter of principle, and I'll tell you.
You are the single biggest liar. You probably are worse than Jeb Bush. You are the single biggest liar.
All right, now some of you guys might be saying, well, Bert, everybody is disrupts everybody on a debate. That's what a debate's all about. Not at the same proficiency that we see Donald Trump. Look at the difference between what Donald Trump does and what Jeb Bush does. In this case here, Jeb Bush actually interrupts or tries to disrupt Donald Trump.
As an act of love.
You said in September 30th that ISIS was not a
Am I
not
talking or are you talking, Jeb?
I'm talking right now. I'm talking.
You can go back. You're not talking. You interrupted me,
September 30th,
Jeb. Are you going to
you said
apologize, Jeb? No. Am I allowed to finish?
Yes, one at a time.
All right, see how he took control of that? He was able to capture control. What did he do? He asked a question and then he answered it. This guy is smart. He's persuasive. He knows what he's doing.
All right, so tactic number 2 is repetition. Look, in advertising, as in many things in life, repetition is the mother of skill. So you want to get your message across, repeat it over and over again. That's how we teach our children. That's how we learned in school. That is one of the most persuasive principles ever. You repeat, repeat, repeat.
And everybody said
right,
I won the
wait.
debate. Everybody said I won all 6 debates, and especially the last one. Everybody said I won that debate. Every online poll said I won every one of the debates, especially the last one.
You kind of get the point, and that was just this one interview. If you were to turn on TV and you watch this interview, you would have to draw the conclusion everyone thought that he won the debate, and he probably won the debate. I mean, this guy won the debate. Now, here's the setup. This is a news format. It's primarily there to entertain in sound bites. So it's not set up to debate. It's not to set up factual information. This is not point counterpoint. Mr. Trump is very good at speaking in sound bites. Now, Bill O'Reilly showed no evidence that he did not win. And so anyway, it moves forward. Now, the other thing is this. It's human nature. When we are overwhelmed with tons of information, with a lot of stimuli, as we are here with all the coverage of campaign 2016, we will draw our conclusion the simplest, easiest way possible, such as an interview with Donald Trump in this case, right? This guy is, again, doing generalizations, big strokes, a lot of repetition to be persuasive and get his point home.
We don't win anymore. We don't win anymore in our country, Sean. We don't win anymore. We used to win. We don't win anymore. We don't win with trade. We don't win with war. We can't even beat ISIS. And we're going to win. If I win, I will tell you, if I win, we all win because we are going to win.
All right. I know that you probably think that's a little funny, but this works. Look, repetition is the way you brainwash somebody. Repetition is the way you learn a new skill. Repetition is the way you plant an idea in somebody's head or into your own head. Call it a mantra, call it an affirmation, call it whatever you want. Repetition works. It's at the heart of taking an idea from the conscious to the subconscious. It works each and every time. Why do you think companies spend so much money with catchy little jingles? Because it allows somebody to make something that's catchy, that makes an impression, that makes it memorable, something easy to repeat over and over again. Plop, plop, fizz, fizz. Oh, what a relief it is. Something silly works. Repetition works. Let me give you a more impactful demonstration. If the glove don't fit, you must acquit. O.J. Simpson was acquitted of multiple murder because of this phrase. A lot of people point to this phrase as one of the key elements to his acquittal. The other thing is that Donald Trump keeps the idea simple. This is the third tactic. Donald Trump keeps it super simple. KISS. Now, I'm going to show you a clip where Mr. Carson is trying to explain something that is complicated.
You're talking about an $18 trillion economy. You're talking about a 15% tax on your gross domestic product. You're talking about $2.7 trillion. We have a budget closer to $3.5 trillion. But if you also apply that same 15%.
Can you hear the crickets? The response to this man's answer, Mr. Carson's answer, was nothing. People did not understand what he was saying. I don't think he understood what he was saying. He kept looking at his notes. His facial cues did not convey strength, did not convey confidence. His voice was very drone and monotone. And unfortunately, he's got a very complex answer to a very big set of numbers. It went over everybody's head. Keep it simple. Keep it super simple. Look, it's true. Logic is an emotion. It's the emotion of certainty. But you have to deliver it with emotion. Emotion transfers into action. If we get emotional about something, we're going to believe it. If we get emotional about something, we're going to buy it. We're going to repeat it. Nobody could get emotional about this answer compared to...
We're reducing taxes to 15%. We're bringing corporate taxes down, bringing money back in, corporate inversions.
This program here sounds simpler on its face, right? So there's a couple things going on. First, again, Mr. Trump keeps it simple. Mr. Carson's answer was much more complicated. Also, body language, the facial cues. Mr. Trump's looking forward. He doesn't have to look down at his notes. He doesn't shift around with his face. He appears to know what he's talking about. So again, there's that confidence thing. Final tactic, social proof, both in the positive and the negative. You will see how Donald Trump uses authority and social proof to drive his point home, to be more persuasive.
Cut taxes $10 trillion without increasing the deficit. Let's be honest. Is this a comic book version of a presidential campaign?
Larry Kudlow, as an example, who I have a lot of respect for, loves my tax plan. We're reducing taxes to 15%. We're bringing corporate taxes down, bringing money back in, corporate inversions.
All right, so here's a really good example, in my opinion. He references this gentleman named Larry Kudlow, but he doesn't mention what this guy does or his occupation or his authority or his expertise, which I find that interesting. And then second of all, check out what happens when he's questioned about the merits of his plan. He doesn't explain anything. He doesn't revert back to the plan and say and point out, the good points of it. Instead, he focuses purely on authority and social proof.
You say that it would not increase the deficit because you'd cut taxes $10 trillion and the economy would take off like... Hold on. The economy would take off like a rocket ship.
Right. Dynamic.
I talked to economic advisors who have served presidents of both parties. They said that you have as much chance of cutting taxes that much without increasing the deficit as you would of flying away from that podium by flapping your arms really high.
Then you have to get rid of Larry Kudlow, who sits on your panel, who's a great guy, who came out the other day and said, I love Trump's tax plan.
All right, so I want to point out this nuance. I call it the circle of social proof. So when Donald Trump introduces social proof or an authority, he also mentions how smart they are, how much they're liked or well respected they are, and that they're typically a phenomenal person, something like that. He edifies the social proof that he's about to use, as he did in this case and as he did previously. So next time you watch Donald Trump, see how often he edifies the social proof that he is referencing. So it's a circle. These guys are smart. They also like his program, or they like him. Therefore, it must be a good program. It just makes this continuous circle. Now watch what he does when he attacks Ted Cruz on his eligibility to run for president.
And numerous from Harvard, said that there is a serious question as to whether or not Ted can do this, okay? There are other attorneys that feel, and very, very fine constitutional attorneys, that feel that because he was not born on the land, he cannot run for office.
So in this next clip, this is actually one of my favorite ones, because this individual is trying to get specific evidence from Donald Trump. And watch what Donald does.
Specific evidence that the Mexican government is sending criminals across the border. 30 seconds.
Border Patrol, I was at the border last week. Border Patrol people that I deal with, that I talk to, they say this is what's happening.
What's interesting here is that the debates are not set up to allow you long-winded time, right? He's only given Donald Trump here 30 seconds. Now, what's interesting is this is a great format for people who know how to speak in sound bites, which is something that Donald Trump's been doing for about 40 years. The part of our brain, the reticular activating system, works best with anecdotal evidence, meaning a story is going to be more persuasive than stats and numbers.
Talking about a little give and take and a little negotiation. And you know what? That's okay. That's not the worst thing in the world. There's nothing wrong with that. I happen to be much stronger on illegal immigration. Sheriff Joe Arpaio endorsed me, and if he endorses you, believe me, you are the strongest from Arizona. But give...
I love what he did there. Hey, if so-and-so endorses you, you're obviously the strongest. There is no, again, no rational explanation. He just said, Sheriff Joe endorses you, you must be the strongest in this subject matter, and therefore, you're the right person to go to. All right, real quick, because I promised I was going to show you this, and this is how he handles negative social proof. He's very protective, aggressive about protecting his own reputation.
You know, a lot of people thought when you started to run that this was a joke, that you weren't going to get anywhere, that you were a buffoon. You know it all. But now,
I don't think they thought I was a buffoon. What kind of a statement is that?
Well, some people
I built a great company.
Some people didn't like you.
Best-selling books. I had one of the top television shows in television. Nobody says buffoon. No, they thought I wouldn't run, and then they thought that if I did run, I'd just have a good time for a little while, and then I'd get out. Unfortunately for them, I'm number one by many, many points.
Let's recap. Tactic number one, you need to do a pattern interrupt, grab people's attentions, do something disruptive, go against the grain. Tactic number two, repetition, repetition, repetition. Just keep saying it over and over again. People will start to believe it. Tactic number three, simplicity wins. Keep it super simple. If it's complicated to explain, it's going to be very complicated to understand. You're going to lose people. So big, general, simple statements win. They're more persuasive. Tactic number four, social proof. Look to the authority of other people. Show other people enjoying your product or service. Talk about how much they support you and how smart they are.
All right, so did I miss something? What did you think? Leave some comments below, subscribe to my channel, and remember, you were created to succeed.